Principal Labasa College, Angeline Raj, District Officer Labasa, government officials, ladies and gentlemen. Nagabakalevu, Dhanyawad, thank you for coming over this morning. Today is Saturday, busy day. Labasa is usually very busy on Saturday morning, but it's good to see so many of you here this morning. It's quite nostalgic to be back in this compound of Labasa College. As the MC said, I remember this hall, these buildings, those classrooms. Vividly remember principal's office. At that time, Mr. Amaria Naidu used to be the principal. And what a fantastic time we had at Labasa College. And I know Labasa College remains the pride and honor of Banualevu. So I'm extremely delighted to be here at Labasa College and to see and speak to many of you. We've had a number of budget consultations over the last several days, but we've had our government started very clearly from the point of view of working together with the people, by consulting the people, by making sure that our people are free and that they are given the opportunity to raise their concerns, talk about issues, lay out some of the things that government ought to do. And I think that's very important in a democracy. Budget for any country is a very central political and economic process, because it's not always what everybody wants in a budget. The resources are always limited. And government's job is to make sure that we consult, we understand the problems, the issues, so that when we formulate the budget, we're able to reflect some of those issues within that budget. We started by having a very successful National Economic Summit, which brought a lot of people together. And since then, we've had a lot of activities to bring people together. We are a coalition government. There will be challenges ahead, in terms of the different policies, the different ideas that come from the three political parties. But more importantly, I think beyond those discussions within political parties, the most important thing is what is good for the country. And I think all the political parties in the government, including our party, understand that when we are in government, it's about the nation. It's about the people. It's about everyone. And this budget is going to reflect that thinking, that process. I also want to say, right at the outset, and I'm saying this everywhere because it's important to allay those fears, all these rumors and, should I say, lies about that the new government is going to take away people's social welfare, The new government is suddenly going to ask students to pay fees, that the new government is going to take away benefits from the people that they were getting. That's all false. Those are all lies. No government is suddenly going to take away benefits that people deserve, that people need. And we as a government understood that very well when we came into power. The first month before the school opened, and many of you would know, many students would know, that we allocated $50 million to make sure that we provide $200 each to every student from preschool right up to Form 7. And we paid $200 each to more than 214,000 students before the school opened this year. And we knew that that was needed to help families to buy books, buy bags, buy sandals, buy stationery, and majority of the students, the parents, use their money. And many of you would know this. So that was the first thing that we did. We wanted to help our people. So when we formulate the budget, we are going to balance three fundamental things. We have to ensure that we look at our debt levels, we look at what more we can borrow, we will look at how much revenue we can collect and how much we can spend. If we don't collect revenue, if we don't have revenue, we have to borrow more. So government budget includes three things. It includes borrowed money, it includes what we collect from the country in terms of taxes, in terms of other non-tax revenue, and you add that together, and that's the expenditure for the year. That's the income for the government. And then we look at how do we spend that money, the borrowed funds and the funds that are collected through taxes and other sources. And that's, in a nutshell, the budget. And to give effect to that, we make changes to the laws where it's necessary, so that that budget process is given effect. The people talking about BET, the history of BET, from 2011 to 2016, the VAT, there was only one single VAT rate of 15%. All of you were paying VAT of 15%. Then that was reduced from 15 to 9%. And then after COVID, it was changed again to 3 rates. So there is a 15% VAT rate now. On a lot of things, you pay 15%. And then there is a 9% and then a 0% on basic food items. So we have to work out what is the best combination. Whether we have all 3 rates, whether we have 2 rates, whether we have 1 rate. That's the discussion we're having, and there are a lot of views that have been expressed. But whatever we do, we want to make sure that we balance it so that we get enough revenue. If you don't get enough revenue, we can't pay more to social welfare. We can't look after your hospitals. We can't fix the roads. We can't improve the services for our people. We can't repair buildings such as, Labasa College. These are necessary expenditures. So that's where we are. And when the debt level is already very high, we have to look at that as well, so that we can manage. We can't let the debt keep on going up, because if it keeps going up, whatever revenue we collect, we will have to make repayments as well. So that's fundamentally the issues that we are confronting. We've had a number of issues, the sugar industry, we've had issues about basic services in town. We have decided that we are going to bring back elected town councillors. We're going to bring back elected, cane growers council. We want to make sure that our people are participating. And the most important thing is, we want to work with the communities. We want to work with NGOs. We want to work with, local groups. And last night we had a very good meeting with the Labasa Chamber of Commerce, the business people. We had in Seanga, we had a lot of issues from the farmers, from women, about markets, about, facilities there. So these are things that we need to fix quickly. Not everything will be fixed the next day. Not everything will be changed in the next 4 years. But what we will do is make sure that things that can be done quickly to improve hospital services, road, in some cases water supply, making sure that our teachers, our students have a very better environment to study. These are things that will be done as quickly as possible. So, one last point before I give you the opportunity. This issue about TELS, that's another rumor that nobody will get scholarships. What we have done, or what we're going to do in the budget, all those students who studied on TELS, there are about more than 600 million debt, which is sitting on the heads of your parents, of our parents, on our students who have graduated, they are working, they still have. So what we've done is we are going to write off, clear all that debt. Yeah, and make sure that that no longer remains a burden on the parents and the students. The rich parents, the rich students, if they get the discount, that there was a policy that if you paid 50%, you get 50% discount. But those from the poor families who are already struggling to get a job, or if they get a job, it's not a very well-paid job, they still have $30,000-$40,000 to pay. We're taking that away, so that they don't have to worry about it. All they have to do is to save the country for a period of time. So when they get a scholarship, they will sign a bond. The new scholarship scheme, with the same amount of money, in fact, with the less amount of money that the previous scheme was putting out to the students in terms of loans, we can put all the students back into the universities, tertiary institutions, by giving them scholarships. And the only requirement will be that they sign a bond, that if they have studied for 3 years or 4 years, then there will be a number of years. The formula will be announced in the budget, that they sign a bond to save Fiji. After that, once they have saved the bond, they don't have to pay anything. So in that way, we are helping our students, but also making sure that people stay back and contribute, which many of us did. We all studied on government. Government scholarship is not something new that only happened in the last so many years. It was there in the 70s, it was there in the 80s. People like us would not have been able to go to the university if we didn't have government scholarship. So government is fully aware. So there should not be any worry amongst the parents and the students about getting to tertiary institutions or universities or technical colleges or other institutions to study wherever they want. We're trying to train a lot of skills. We're losing a lot of people. So we are trying to provide funding for polytechs, other institutions, and revamp technical and vocational education that was very good in the past. So we're going to put some money into those to train more people. Thank you very much. I will let you speak freely. Don't be shy. Don't be afraid. We want to hear from you, and please feel free. Thank you.
का आज दिया यहाँ पर बातचीत करने के लिए, तो मैं अपना विषय जो हमें कठिनाइयों के समय हम गुजर रहे हैं कि हम हैं दंगोरू लंबासा से। दंगोरू इलाके में इतना समस्या है कि वहाँ पर पानी नहीं है। कितने मिनिस्टर आकर चले गए, कितने एडवाइजरी काउंसिल चले गए, हम रोते रोते थक गए, आंसुओं की धारणा से थक गए। लेकिन आज हम विशेष आपसे यही अनुरोध करते हैं कि हम दंगोरू के लोग आपसे आशावादी है कि हमारे ग्राम में पानी पहुंचा दे। जब हमारे पास पानी नहीं रहता है, हम काटरस को कॉल करते हैं, भैया पानी दे दे, लेकिन क्या होता है कि हमें पानी समय पर नहीं पहुंचता है। विशेषता हम याद करते हैं, 1 महीना बाद हमें कल पानी मिला, तो हमारे लोग बहुत खुशी हुए कि कल काटरस द्वारा पानी मिला। मैं आपसे यही अनुरोध करती हैं कि आप हमारे ग्राम में पानी पहुंचा दे तो उचित बात होगी, क्योंकि हमारे बड़े बूढ़े मदद करते करते थक गए और ऐसे कुएं के सहारा लिए, लेकिन जब झूरा होता है वहाँ कुआं भी झुरा जाता है। तो विशेष आपसे मेरा नरम निवेदन है, मैं दंगोरू जिला से भी के लोगों के तरफ से आपसे नरम निवेदन करती हूँ कि हमारे इलाका में पानी पहुँचा दे। आप सभी को धन्यवाद हो।
Thank you. If you can just provide the details to our staff sitting there in terms of people living, we will look into it.
I think she made a very good point about water, and obviously she was saying that many people have talked about water in Dunguru, and nothing has been done. I can understand her problem. बहन जी, मैं समझता हूँ अच्छी तरह से कि आप क्या कहती थी, और मैं आपसे बिल्कुल सहमत हूँ कि पानी बहुत ही ज़रूरी वस्तु है, होना ज़रूरी है। पानी अगर नहीं है तो लोगों की जो रोज़ाना उनकी सुविधा है वो ठीक नहीं रहेगा। तो हम लोग देखेंगे कि मैं किसी तरह का अभी वादा नहीं करता हूं कि कल हो जाएगा, लेकिन पानी की जो समस्या है वो जगह जगह पर है। जैसे तांबिया में कल हम थे, वहाँ पर भी लोगों ने हमसे मांग किया कि चलो कुछ इलाकों में पानी नहीं है, वहाँ पर हमें पानी लगाना है। तो हमें अच्छी तरह से समझ में आती है कि आपने क्या कहा, और आपकी समस्या को मैं बहुत ही ध्यान से सुन रहा था। You know, water is a basic necessity, and when people talk about water supply, I mean there are ways of providing immediate relief. So we are looking at possibilities in some areas of borehole, until the big scheme or big water project, can be provided. Sometimes we start talking about big things when we should be looking at providing relief immediately. And I think we have our district officer here. The government officials understand this very well. तो हम लोग उस पर ध्यान देंगे। कितने लोग वहाँ पर रहते हैं? कितना घर होगा वहाँ? 40 घर वहाँ है। हाँ, तो अब अभी कहाँ से आता पानी बहन? सबके पास कुआं है। हाँ,
with due respect to the administration, the Danguru area is at a place where the main catchment for Labasa is coming from. That's from Nasia Levu. So Nasia Lebu is crossing probably Danguru is midway, and then the major pipes are running from Nasia Lebu to the main catchments of Labasa. So
Main pipes are on the way.
yes, sir, very much. So I'm sure the people of Danguru can benefit in the long run. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Well, that clarifies. We're taking note of that. But thank you very much for clarifying that. ठीक है, हम लोग उस पर ध्यान देंगे.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Honorable Prasad, sir. So I just want to I want to make a suggestion. I want to move in this forum that regarding vetting to have a different for those people who are earning less than 50,000, not to receive any. Not to be taxes with vetting, and those who are earning 500,000 above to be levied with tax on VAT. So it depends on your income, because to penalize everybody across the board to pay VAT on zero-rated VAT items, the poor will suffer more on that instance. So VAT to be levied according to the income that you get on VAT rated items.
Yeah, I think what you are saying is that two things. Let me just clarify. One is those earning below 30,000, they don't pay any income tax, right now. And we don't intend to change that. So anybody who's earning 30,000 or below, right now doesn't pay any income tax. We are not going to change that in this budget. So they will, because we don't want people to lose. On VAT, we are thinking about this idea, whether to have two rates, zero on food items and another rate on everything else. But some reasons why people saying that we should have only one single rate is because those who are below poverty line, low income people, if you put zero VAT on food, then the benefit is not only for them, it's for everybody. So those who can afford, they also benefit. So one thinking is that if we put a single VAT rate, we collect more revenue, but use that revenue to put more money into social welfare, supporting people with a lower income. More support for women, more support for children, more support for the elderly, more support for people with disability. So these are questions that we have to look at. But thank you for those points here.
Thank you, sir. So my name is Mohammad Tazim. So I am a Sector Director of Wengele, LCPA, and a former President of LCPA. So my concern is regarding the road and the bridge in Wengele. So, Burindrondro Bridge, there is a notice been written there for 5 tons. And we are still using that same bridge. Past 8 years already has been gone. So, Suga Minister was here in Labasa. So, the Prime Minister was here in Labasa. I have raised the concern, but till to date, there is nothing has been happened. So, it's a request if you can look in this matter and repair the bridge and also the road of Wengele. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. That bridge in Wangili is one of the bridges listed already for repair. That will be a World Bank funded, ADB World Bank funded project. But what we can do is look at some of the immediate issues that are there, whether that can be fixed until such time that a new bridge is put in place. So just to say to you that we have just been in government for 5 months. The Prime Minister is aware of some of the need in Vanuatu, and he is more than 100% committed in fixing some of these infrastructure issues that we have. On the roads generally, we feel that the current structure of the FRA and the concentration mostly on main roads and urban infrastructure, rural roads somehow we found that have been neglected over the years. So we are also trying to, in the budget, apart from allocating funds to FRA, which will still be very significant, we are trying to bring back PWD, so that in that way we are able to focus on rural infrastructure, things like bridges, water supply, that normally used to be handled very well. And a lot of, people were employed. Small local contractors could also be employed, in the transition. So we want to make sure that we focus on the rural roads. And Vanuatu, there will be a big focus in the budget to improve the road. In some cases, we may not have to build new bridges immediately. We can just repair and make sure that the road is better, the bridge is better. A lot of people travel by buses in Vanuatu. In fact, a large majority of the people, who come into Labasa, other towns in places like Sabu, travel by bus. And we want to make sure that our buses are everywhere. And the buses can be everywhere only if the roads are better. So we will put our focus on fixing the roads in Vanuatu. Thank you.
Minister for Finance. I think still on the issue of roads, there's been a lot of a complete disregard, blatant disregard for processes and procedures. Dealing with these small contractors, I've been told that there probably needs to be a closer scrutiny of what they do, especially subcontractors. You see the standards of roads, Mr. Acting PM, you can know that there's been a lot of, without proper due diligence, jobs have been offered without proper procedures being adhered to. But that is not what I wish to raise. What I wish to raise this morning, Mr. Acting PM, is probably to ask you if you can brief us on this commitment by I think it's a UN-funded initiative to try and develop tourism in the north. And I believe 60 million has been devoted to this. It's creating a lot of excitement, and I believe it's probably good that you brief more into the details of this initiative. Thank you.
That is going to be a big project. We have almost finalized the project. The Ministry of Tourism under Deputy Prime Minister Bill Gaboka will be leading the implementation of that project. We have already had, we have almost completed our discussions with the World Bank, the ADB, and that project is right on track. It will be almost close to about $90 million project. That includes the upgrade of Labasa Airport, that includes the upgrade of the Sabu Airport, that includes infrastructure in the Labasa, Senganga, Sub-Sabu corridor. We want to ensure that we promote tourism not only in Sub-Sabu, Taviuni, but also in other parts of Banwalebu, including Labasa, and beyond right up to Undu Point. I mean, these are untapped areas in Banwalebu, beautiful locations, some beautiful beaches, scenic environment, and there is this huge potential. And the government is committed to bringing tourism so that other sectors, agriculture, can be linked to those developments. And we are already talking with a number of other sectors. We have the Sugarcane Growers Council, we have Sugarcane Growers Fund, we have, the Agriculture Ministry. So when that project is implemented, it will bring, you are absolutely right, there will be a lot of excitement about that project. And that's not going to be the only one. We are focused on improving our agriculture services. The Minister for Agriculture has already put a budget submission which includes a focus on Banwalebu, and we are going to look at that specifically. The agriculture officials are here. I think they are aware. So we are not going to do this at the expense of what, but Banwalebu, all of you are right, seem to have been neglected in the way, we have focused on its economic development over the last so many years. So we will make a very, very concerted effort, and that project is going to be perhaps, a new way to accelerate and provide the impetus for further investment. We are trying to encourage our local investors. We want them to invest more in either manufacturing. I know Pinto Industries is a very successful local Labasa manufacturing company. And these are types of companies that we want to promote. We want them to set up new factories. We want them to go up to Senganga or to Keti, and because they will provide jobs. So I think there is a sense of confidence, there is a sense of excitement, not only in Banwalebu, but I think throughout the country. And as a government, we are trying to support, that effort to further build confidence and promote, investment. Yeah. Naka.
I have a second concern here with me. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Honorable Prasad. I'm Vilkas Alikano from Wailevu Village. I have my second concern to raise with you, sir. It's regarding the National Employment Center in Labasa.
Can you, I can't get, I don't seem to,
Your Bula,
the voice is a bit,
Bula.
yeah. Come in front.
This, how about this? Can you hear me now?
Put the mic a little, yeah. Yeah, okay. Now it's better. Go ahead.
Test. Mike, can you hear me now, sir? Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Honorable Prasad, sir.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Mic test, 1, 2.
No, this is regarding the National Employment Center in Labasa. Yes, this is regarding the National Employment Center in Labasa. Yeah. There's a problem with this NEC office. They cannot employ local graduates here in Labasa. And it's been so long. I think for the last 10 years or so, the NEC office employ local graduates and local unemployed, those who are looking for employment. But instead, they just send them overseas to Australia, New Zealand, and we are asking why can our national employment center cannot employ us here locally, and we want government to do something about it, for us to get employment locally rather than them just sending people away or offshore. Thank you.
We want to look at the role of the National Employment Center. We want to look at the 1% levy that employers used to have to train their own people. We also want to bring back apprenticeship so that there is some continuity in terms of training, in terms of employment. And apprenticeship used to be a very good way of keeping people in a system where they continuously upgraded their qualification, but also were earning income the day they started. So thank you very much.
For you coming here. The issue I want to raise mostly the roadside. I haven't seen that from Western and Bitilevu and Banwalevu, Senganga is done. Mostly the road condition. I'm from Wangili. Now Vakasingani, 1 kilometer before the airport, one Vakasingani road going inside. Say this road condition is very bad from TC Yasa. And road authority is doing nothing for that one. We complain every time. We want feedback. They haven't done it. One contractor was taking the soil from inside, cutting the soil. And when we complaining to the road authority said that contractor will be fixing that road. And after that, the contractor taken the soil, he haven't fixed the road. The road condition is very bad. From our community, we return a letter. We given to the road authority, permanent secretary, everywhere. But we haven't received any feedback. I know that you will see in this issue, because from DC Asa on 3 culverts was there. That is a government road. And now the crushing season, mostly 5,000 of tons there, more than 5 or 6 gang inside. They want to cut the cane. Because the road condition in this weather, we can't cut the cane because of the government road. Police see in this issue. And my second issue is for the cane access road. Mostly you said that before was the cross councillor and town councillor, you will be want to bringing them back. Before, the farmers was receiving the fund for the road, cane access road, that farmers have to arrange their own contractor. That was better, say. Because now the contractors, they rate, some of the farmers, the cane access, they receive only $300 or $400. The farmers only bringing the grader and going and coming back. The money is finished. See in this matter, and the production of the cane, say, in this budget 23 and 24, just look after the cane price. Farmer doing their better.
Joe raised, thank you, Joe, and thank you. My friend, it seems a lot of people from Wangili today. But yes. Joe raised a very important point, and in fact, what you've raised, what's your name? Ritesh, both of you, the issues that Joe and Ritesh have raised is absolutely on the dot. It was raised by Honorable former Member of Parliament Pramod Chand last night. In fact, there's been a lot of racket. I agree with you. You know, we need to get to the bottom of that, and that's why we are trying to change. We want to bring PWD back. I didn't recognize you. No? He looks younger now. Yeah. Thank you, Joe. But you are absolutely right. And what Ritesh has raised, we have discussed this, Ritesh, in a number of forums in the West too. You are right. The previous system used to work very well. The Cane Access Road was managed by the committees in that area. Roads were always fixed, not only just in the crushing season, but beyond the crushing season, because a lot of other people used it. So we are talking with the Sugarcane Growers Fund, Growers Council, the Ministry of Sugar, and we want to make sure that we bring back that partnership and have a better arrangement so that farmers don't have to complain about this. On the sugar, as you know, the guaranteed price of $85, farmers were shortchanged for about $13 million in the last 2 or 3 years. We have made sure that not only that they get the guaranteed price, already in the last 2 payments, $24 and $7.11 has taken the price to more than $85. And we still have 1 payment to make. So we are going to make sure other support such as subsidies for fertilizer and weedicide, the budget was reduced last time, understandably after COVID, but we hope to bring it to a level that will be reasonable for the farmers. So thank you very much for raising that.
Good morning. In any workplace around Fiji, my question, is it included in the budget?
We thank you for that question, and I sympathize with you 100%. I think you are absolutely right. I must say that the previous government did some good work on looking after people with disabilities. We want to make sure that we continue and improve on the services and the accessibility of people with disability, and we would be making sure that there is appropriate budgetary provision. We want to work with employers, we want to work with other organizations, because government alone can't resolve all these issues. So we have to create a partnership in a way that we can deal with some of those issues. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
The risk of repetition, however, I must point this out. When the government goes around, there are a lot of people come to you people, to the minister, to the prime minister, to the acting prime minister. One of the reasons is there is so much dysfunction in the government departments. Like today, we don't have many government departments here. They should be here listening to the people. If they are functional properly, we don't have to come to you in forums like this. We will come in the forums like this and just thank you and thank the government. One example is if you go to the agriculture office or the veterinary office here in Labasa, they hardly have a vet there. The government is promoting sheep farming. They don't have medicine for the sheep. And a lot of people talk about water supply. One of the biggest problems with the water supply is the Water Authority of Fiji. These people, they are supposed to go to the villages and find out sources, but when you call them, you'll hardly get any superior officers. They will not want to talk to you. And this is the major problem. In fact, in Banualebu, majority of the civil servants, without any fear, I must say this, most of them are dysfunctional, too old, too long have been here. they need to be transferred. Many of them. Number one is the Fiji Road Authority. What is actually happening, we have only two major contractors in Banua Levu throughout Banua Levu. What they do, they go and subcontract. If they get a contract for $11 a meter for digging a drain, they will subcontract it at $6 a meter. Sitting in their office, they make $5 a meter. Government is losing that money. Why can't we give those kind of contracts not to one contractor, but to 5 contractors? Banua Levu can be separated, Taviuni and the outer islands, and then you can have Bua side, Takanrobe and Maduata. These are very important and pertinent things, and that is why we are losing a lot of money on road. People come, just like my brother here comes from Bakasingani. I have seen that road. It's very true. It's just a very small thing. When Fiji Road Authority acquired all the roads, it was supposed to be all the roads in the town areas, in the rural areas, that it should come under Fiji Road Authority and they have to look after. But what they tell the people, there are very few people there. So we're not going to fix that road. They only want to fix roads that are very heavy traffic and use a lot. But everybody is a citizen of the nation. We must have fair play. And not only that, service delivery to all Fijians is paramount, whether 2 people live in an area or 200 people live. So my suggestion is something like this, that our government departments need to be really energized, and they need to be really told that they need to have a performance management system and they should be taken to task. This is something very important. Labasa, every single department you go, people are sitting with everything, the people's application, whether it be in the police station, somebody will report, the police will tell, come and make a report here. So I don't know, but my suggestion is this: through your good self, through the government team, we should be able to tighten up all the civil servants here in Banua Levu. I think, just like you were told yesterday, as soon as they knew that you were coming to Tambia, they started cutting the grass on the side of the road. And this happens every time. The Prime Minister was supposed to go to Lakemba. As soon as they heard that the Prime Minister is coming, the graders, diggers, everything all started walking there. For one man, what about the rest of us in Banua Levu, 130,000 people? We are not important? Thank you.
I can get the message loud and clear from the applause, after you spoke, Mr. Chand. I couldn't agree with you more. I think a lot of the problem is not necessarily about money. And I have seen that with my own eyes. When we were here last time, we went to Raketi Health Center, we looked at the market. We saw Seanga market, the women came yesterday and raised issues about simple thing, about putting some roof so that it doesn't leak, so that they can stay there. The women from the villages were coming there. They didn't have any facilities for washroom and all that. These are, the money is there. These are simple things that can be done. And it wasn't being done, to improve the basic services for our people. And you're absolutely on the dot when you say that government departments need to step up. What we are going to do as part of the Ministry of Finance, in fact, the planning office, if you remember, in the previous, period, every, division used to have, divisional planning officers. There was a good sort of monitoring, planning in each division. They were working very closely with the district officers, with the police, and it may have been slow, but it was working, it was functional, and people did that, in a systematic way. So we want to put planning officers back into some of the divisional offices. And we are also wanting to ensure that we have some implementation monitoring team within the Ministry of Finance so that we can look at when sometimes you allocate the money in the budget, the money is there, things don't happen. Things that should happen within 3 months or 4 months don't get started. And partly it's the implementation. So we are going to focus quite strongly, and we are expecting all our ministers and permanent secretaries, especially the permanent secretaries, to get onto the ground and make sure that when the budget is allocated, they are there to implement it. Otherwise, there's no point, allocating funds and good use of money. And all the points that Joe, Ritesh, and you just raised about how this record was continuing. And we spent millions of dollars, and now I'm hearing from all of you here that we haven't been able to fix some of these simple things, but absolutely necessary and vital for our people on the ground. So we will take, I don't promise that we'll all start working and we fix next day, but at least we are aware and we are determined to improve the efficiency of government service delivery and government project, implementation. Sometimes, like health facilities. Health ministry, in my view, had good budget. But the way it's been organized, you wait for one contractor who's thinking about some big novelty of how they're going to big things, and yet people don't have basic facilities which can be fixed, until such time that you have this big novelty project that somebody is thinking to come on board. We are going to move away from that kind of mentality and make sure that the funds are utilized in a timely manner. Thank you.
Disability access. Perhaps something I've also seen in overseas, like the taxis. They have accessibility with the wheelchair accommodation and all those things. If the government could encourage the taxi operators to have that sort of taxis with the duty exemptions or those things that will allow them to have those sort of taxis where people like our brother easily can get in, put their wheelchairs at the back, and those sort of things can work with the operators.
Good suggestion, Mr. Sharma. Something that we...
There is a humble request if the vice could be retained back. Like at the moment, we are facing a lot of problem due to this open rank system, what the previous government did. For example, in Labasa, only one town. And it's like overcrowding of vehicles here. The other side, when previous time, the taxi payments were issued, like back in 2010, back in 2015. So why it was issued? Because of the service was needed in the rural area. There was a demand. So on demand, so a lot of payments were issued in the rural area. But when this open rank system came in here, so now even we can see the taxi from Raketi, from Daku, from Langa, all those areas, they're hopping in Labasa and making the town overcrowding. As well as on Saturdays, we face a lot of difficulties when we don't see any authorized officers on the road controlling the vehicles, the traffic. Sometimes it takes 1.5 hours from Batarikama Junction to reach Labasa town. So it's our humble request, when town council is coming back, we want the base system to be back again, so that we can continue with the same format what we were doing before. We used to pay the base fees as well as the stand fees, and that is also the income for the town council as well as it comes to the government. So we want it to be retained back, sir. That's our humble request. And question number 2, sir. I am also a farmer. So like at the moment we see the cane production is going very down. almost some place it's a nil. So there is a lot of lacking too. As well, say if I want to tell you, for last year, when we see one harvester is here for Labasa sector with the trucks, we keep on approaching the field officers just to come and harvest because labor problem at the moment, we know all the place. But even in the flatland, they didn't do that. Even what they do, sometimes, like in between, and some of the people, they become biased. So instead of going somewhere else to harvest, they end up somewhere else. So these are the things, because sugar is the main thing. That is good for Fiji. And really, we are interested, most of the farmers, we just depend on it. We want the production to go up. And if this type of help will be given, really the farmers gonna appreciate. And they'll work hard to increase the production. Thank you, sir.
Some of these decisions, in fact, one of the things that this government has been saying since we've come into power is that when we want to bring changes to something, law or regulations, we need to have some good discussion. A lot of these things, that LTA brought changes, was not discussed fully. Wasn't appreciated how it was going. Sometimes you think that this will be good, but then other things happen. We call it unintended consequences of changes to law, changes to policy that can cause more problems than it can resolve. So that's why consultation is very important. I'm sure the Transport Minister is looking at the whole operation of LTA and review of some of the regulations, including, some people think, open rank is good, some people think that base was good, but we need to have some more discussion so that an amicable, set of regulations can be found, can become more orderly, so that, everyone benefits rather than, one group feels left out, the other group feels empowered. And so there's always this tension, within the taxi industry right now, and you know that better. But I think a very sensible review and understanding could help.
Yes, thank you, sir, Mr. Honorable Prasad, sir. I just got one more concern here regarding TELS. Most of students have received offer letters from universities, for example, USP. Yeah. They have received the offer letter, but the TELS cannot offer them a scholarship due to some selection criteria issue, Maybe some of the marks below.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
sir. But however, they have been given offer letters to study at the uni. They've given a place by the university, but they cannot receive ITLs. Can government look at that, and help applicants? Thank you, sir.
Yeah. The previous have this many marks to get into this program, but if you wanted to continue with another program, then you had to look at yourself. So we are looking at all that. The current system is still in place. In the budget, we will announce the new system and the writing of the student loan as well. We have stopped repayment for student loans already. But for the students, the new scheme will cater for all of you.
Naka, I got 3 issues to raise. First, as you can see, may have experienced the traffic jam in Labasa.
We talked about that yesterday.
Yeah. What I want is that to have a traffic management plan for Labasa. There should be one in place right now. The reason is that there's a lot of build-up coming up. There won't be any space in the future for road expansion. That is the first one that I want to raise.
Thank you.
The second one, again, is about the TELS. I understand that the TELS is solely for those that are out from secondary school. As you can, probably you'll understand that some students don't perform well from secondary students after secondary. But when they go into tertiary, they do perform as private students. Is there any possibility for TELS for these students?
Yeah, we are looking at, as I said, the whole scheme. The previous TELS scheme will change significantly. We want to make sure that we provide opportunity to everybody to get into a tertiary institution if they qualify. We can't, of course, send somebody who's got 200 marks to go and do medicine or engineering. So there will be criteria for scholarships, for award of that support based on what people can do and what they are suited to do. So that new scheme will be announced in the budget.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. My third point is that, the cost of buying lots from housing authority is so high.
Yeah.
I know you understand. Housing authority needs development cost.
Yeah. The whole housing situation is a serious problem. We have a lot of issues with the informal settlement. The previous government, had at least one good concept. They started talking about the public-private partnership. We are going to continue and pilot that. The decision on that has already been made by Cabinet. So we are looking at 3 locations where the public-private partnership model will be, where we'll build flats, and those flats will have strata titles sold to people with low income, with combination of those with high income as well, but majority would go to low income. And we have spoken to banks. Banks are willing to provide loans, and there'll be a system to provide ownership of people at the lower income levels so that they are not disadvantaged. On the lots, that's something that the housing authority, the housing ministry is looking at it. But as a government, we understand that it is a major issue. We want to build on some of the things that was done by the previous government or the thinking that was there. We will change few things that we feel is important, but the agenda remains to provide housing, affordable housing to those who can't in the normal market sense.
Okay.
Thank
so
you.
this means there will be.
So my name is Anna. I am in year 12, and I was just wondering if you could elaborate on the Australian scholarship to Fiji.
You mean the Australian government providing scholarships to Fiji students?
Yes, sir.
Australia has its own ANA, eh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You want to go to Australia? Good. Australian government, there are scholarships that are provided by different governments. Australian government provides scholarship. There are scholarships by the Indian government. There are Korean government scholarships, and there are others as well. So they have their own criteria. They do the selection. So when it comes out, when it's advertised, if you feel you are eligible, please apply. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister.
Yeah, okay. We have this last one from you. A quick one. And a short and quick one.
Very, very short one, say. With due respect to you, say, first of all, I would like to welcome you. I do understand we have the numbers in the Parliament from Northern Division, from the President, the Prime Minister, the Deputy Prime Minister, and other ministers. And you have a better understanding of the economy in the Northern Division and as a nation as a whole. This morning, I would like to input in this consultation about the Northern Division, the economy. In 2016, one of the timber industry was closed, FFI. And our resources from Vanua Levu has been taken to Latoka. And I think FFI was contributing the economy to the Northern Division. Somewhere around 2,000 to 3,000 people were involved, indirectly and directly. And I request the government, if they can consider this, ripping those pine in Vanua Levu rather than taking to Viti Levu in Latoka.
Thank you.
That's the number one. Number two, I think you have talked about the terminal, that there's a budget for the airline terminals. All the airports will be relooked. But please consider buying trolleys for Labasa Airport. You must have seen the trolleys, the condition of the trolleys in Labasa Airport. It's pathetic. And I request you, if that can be improved as soon as possible. Thank you. There were so many things to be contributed because I'm a farmer, but I know you don't have a time. The meeting was supposed to be done tomorrow at Nalemba Primary School, but unfortunately there's some changes. If there's a meeting, definitely I'll come there and highlight a few things. Thank you, Naka.
We will provide a lot of other opportunities, maybe even after budget we will come, because I think after budget it's very important to talk about how things are implemented. We want to make sure that things happen. Sometimes, as I said before, you allocate things in the budget, but things just don't happen. So we want to have a close monitoring. Mr. Palani Mudliar, he was going to ask us about the pension. He told me that he's a peanut seller. He's more than 70 years old. What we are thinking to do in the budget, and we recognize all our people over 70, apart from everyone else below 70, has worked hard, contributed, and especially people who are over 70, they have served the nation, whatever capacity, whether they are farmers, whether they are peanut sellers, whether they are engineers or doctors, they have. And we, the Honorable Prime Minister, also wants to make sure that we look after our elderly people. And so in the budget, right now I'm told that you are only getting $100 a month. I can tell you that there will be some good increase for social welfare. And especially for people over 70 and people like yourselves. Thank you very much. And we thank you for all the work you do and the services you provide for the people. धन्यवाद आपके